What's up, guys? Adapark here, and today I want to talk to you about getting back into that raiding scene. I want to talk to you guys about maybe taking a break from the game and then coming back and figuring out if you want to raid, and more specifically, what you want to raid with. So, the reason why I'm doing this video is I've had several of the guys that I used to raid with. A couple of these guys are close friends of mine, and then a couple of other guys that, maybe not so much friends, but they've raided with me in my guild in the past, and they want to come back and play with me. Or the guild, to be more specific. And I kind of wanted to throw my thoughts out there from both a raider perspective, because I've been there. I took about an 8 to 12 month break when it came to Cataclysm / MOP area, like the end of Cata, beginning of MOP. So I've been there, but also as a raid guild leader, my thoughts on you coming back into the raid. So we're going to be open, we're going to be honest about what we say, because I think that's very important, because we're looking at specifically a commitment. And that's the first thing I want to talk about is, are you able, and more importantly, willing to commit? Do you have a hole in your schedule that my guild, my raid fills? If so, great. Are you willing to show up all 3 days? This is probably the biggest problem when it comes to not only raiders in general, but people that come back, is they've kind of seen the light at the end of the tunnel. They have made commitments with friends, with other games, with not, and I hate to say it in such a negative tone because I love raiding, but not being tied down X amount of hours, Y amount of days per week raiding. And for some people, for a lot of people, it's really hard to get back into that groove of, at this time, on this date, I need to be logged in, ready to roll. Are you willing and able to commit? You need to make sure that you as a raider, as a player, are willing 100% to hit those raid times and those raid days. Now, if you're not able to do so, do not expect a raid spot. I've gotten people back that will say, hey man, I'd really like to raid, but I can't make all 3 nights. My guild raids 3 nights a week. But I can make 2 of them. We don't need you. Well, I can make all 3 nights, but I have to be 45 minutes late all 3 nights. Don't need you, dude. We've already killed a couple of bosses in those 45 minutes. I gotta leave an hour early. Don't need you. I'm sorry. That's when we're putting in our work. That's when we've gotten into our groove. That's when we really want to kill something. We don't need you. You as a player, and I've talked about this, and I'll say it again, I'll say it a billion times on this channel. You need to find a group, a guild, an organized raiding team, whatever it may be. Hopefully it's a guild that fits your needs. However, you need to understand that there are guilds and raids and organized groups out there that need you to fit their needs. So, are you able to commit? Can you show up on the raid days, on the raid times? Can you always be there the majority of the time? Not saying, 110% every single night. You're never going to miss a raid. But can you make it the majority of the time? If you can, great. Continue. Continue considering joining back with your group, your guild. If not, there's nothing wrong with taking a step back, keeping a step back, playing other games, finding a different group, just playing casually. It's cool. It's a game. You should be having fun. But if you can commit, are you willing and able to catch up? Meaning, you are behind, whether it be 6 months, whether it be a week, depending on how competitive you and your raid group is, and how far along you need to be. Are you willing, not only able, I have free time where I can gear up this character to play in the guild, in the raid group. But do I wanna? That's something you need to ask yourself is, I could be playing, on this lowly geared whatever character, or I could be playing Overwatch. Well, of course I'm going to play Overwatch because, that's fun and woohoo. Can you do that? Are you willing to put aside other things to gear and catch up to wherever the rest of your group is? If you're not willing and able to do that, again, stop. Go find something else to do. It's cool. Nothing wrong with that. If you can, that's when you want to go ahead and start really considering joining back with your group. So what do you need to do? One, you need to find out after all that kind of, truly sleeping on it and looking inside yourself and looking at your legitimate abilities and your constraints and your schedule and whatnot. And you need to figure out, what does the group need? What does the group need that I'm wanting to join? If I want to join back with my group, my guild, do they need ranged DPS? Do they need healers? Do they need melee? Do they need a tank? What do they need? You need to understand one thing though, and I've seen this many times as a guild leader, as an officer in raiding guilds, is if there is an open, high responsibility, I don't know that I really have a good term for it, but if there's a tank spot, if there is a healer spot open, and that is a position you as a player wish to fill, you need to make sure that you bust your ass twice as hard to meet what they're looking for. So if you want to tank, if you want to heal, and the group, the guild is looking for healers, looking for tanks, you need to understand that they're not going to keep that spot open. So keep that in mind as you're trying to get back into the raiding scene, that if you want to do these things, you may not be able to. And that's not the group's fault. That's not the guild's fault. And that's something that I've seen raiders get so pissed off about. This is bullshit. I tanked for you guys a year ago, and now I'm coming back and you won't let me tank anymore. I know that, I need to gear up and level up. Dude, we already have 2 tanks. I'm sorry. You can be a tertiary tank, if we need somebody because, one of the tanks is out sick or going to a family function or gets stuck at work, you can tank. This bullshit, whatever, dude. I've seen it many, many times. It's frustrating from a leadership perspective, and it really turns me off about letting you into the raid in general. So if you figure out what the group needs, you need to understand, do you have the experience for what they're asking? And I hate to equate it like this, but it makes the most sense. It's like a job interview. I don't ever want to think of World of Warcraft as a job, but that's essentially what you're looking at with a guild is, I do or do not have experience in what they are looking for. They're looking for, let's say, ranged DPS. I've always played a melee DPS, hypothetically speaking. I don't know how to range DPS. So I know that for me, it's going to take me a longer time to get caught up, to figure out what's going on when it comes to these things. That's what you need to figure out. Do you have the experience behind you to help you, to that inner knowledge, that experience that's going to kind of tweak and make you a little bit better of a player? Or are you going to really need to bust your ass and figure things out? You also need to consider how far behind you are and if they are willing to help you gear and catch up. Now, let's be clear here. From a leadership perspective, and we're going to touch on this a little bit more in a second. From a leadership perspective, I have no problem on off nights, or if we're not getting anywhere, if we truly need to or we want to spend a night or an hour or a couple of hours gearing up some people. I'm cool with that. I don't mind running Emerald Nightmare. I don't mind running TOV. I don't mind running a normal night hold to gear people up that I know are trying. However, 1, do not expect it. And 2, you need to understand that there may be several of you that are looking to jump back in, whether it be new guys, whether it be guys that are returning, whether it be guys that just simply need gear. You're not always going to be the one that we're going to, shell out all the loot to. You're going to have to deal with that. And you need to not make that your primary way of gearing your character out. I'll probably repeat that here in a second, but I just wanted to be clear on that if your guild is willing to help you, don't expect that. 1, don't expect it in general, but 2, don't expect them to just shower you with loot. Not going to happen. Now, if you are sure you can commit, if you are sure you can catch up, you have the time, you have the ability, you have the willingness, the want to do it, and you know what the group needs, talk to your leadership. Pull your officers aside, and we've talked about this. Pull them aside after the raid. Pull them aside on a non-raid night. Be like, hey, dude, you got a few minutes for me to talk? Of course, a good officer is going to make time for you. A good leader is going to make time to talk in private. Now, he may bring the other officers, whatever the case might be, depends on the structure of the guild, the group, the organized raid. And he may say, you can tell him, hey, I want to talk to you guys. I want to begin raiding with you guys again. I really enjoyed it. I really want to come back, etc., etc. Here's what I got. I know you guys need range DPS. I have been working on and will continue to work on my mage, my warlock, my shadow person, whatever. Talk to them, but show them what you have done and what you're willing to do. Don't tell them, hey guys, I'm willing to come back. I want to come back. Here is my level 98 mage. Great. Who cares? Where does that get us? We're a mythic raiding guild, woohoo. Show them, hey guys, I want to come back. Here's my mage. I leveled him up, and then last week I ran this and that, and now I'm item level, 880, 870, whatever, depending on your guild, your raid. And I really want to raid with you guys. Show them that you have been and you are willing to work your ass off to catch up to them. And again, don't expect handouts. Don't expect them to shower you with loot or make special runs or whatever. But I will say this. If there is a chance for you to run anything, whether it be older raids, whether it be mythic pluses, whether it be, dungeons, jump in. Show them that you are willing, that you want this, that you are now going to be a group member, that you are going to be a team player, that you're going to be a committed guild raid member. That you aren't just one of these dudes that's looking for a handout, and then a week from now, a month from now, you're gone. You've disappeared because you didn't get the gear, or it was too hard, or there's another break to be had. Don't do that. Now, let's turn it around to the guild and raid leader side, the leadership side. I'm going to let you guys know. If you hit me up and you're like, hey, I want to raid again, I get excited about it. I love people coming back and raiding. But, truth be told, I'm a little leery about you coming back. Why? Pretty easy. If I had to throw a number out there, like 85, 90% of the people that have hit me up said, hey, I want to come back and raid, don't. I've had a buddy of mine who said, I want to raid with you guys. I've never found a raiding guild that has stuck together. And I said, look, dude, my guild's been together for 10 years now. I've been guild leader for 4, 5, 6 years. I don't remember. Great. He leveled up a character, disappeared. I've had guys that come back, I want to help you guys. I'll do whatever you want to do. We say, here's what we need. They'll level the character up, and then they disappear. And then they come back and they say, oh, well, I'll level this up, and then they disappear. And you know what? I don't trust you. From a leadership point of view, I don't trust you. I want you to raid. I want you to gear up. I want you to work your ass off. I want to help you. I don't trust you. You show me what you got before I commit my resources, my guild, my group, to giving up loot that could go to a person that has worked their ass off, that has been there every night, that has raided with me, that hasn't taken a break. And it's not that I'm trying to be malicious. It's not that my officers or my raiders are trying to be malicious. But the fact is that you're the new guy now. Regardless of how long you were in the guild, you're the new guy again. And obviously you have perks. You have, some seniority. You have, a little bit of leeway when it comes to, I've been in the guild and I took a break and I'm coming back. But that only gets you so far, and that doesn't get you handouts for free. Sometimes players just need a break. Sometimes players just need a couple of weeks off and they come back refreshed. Others need a much longer time. Some players just need to stop playing the game. And all of these are perfectly cool options. However, make sure if you want to commit that you are able to do so, that you want to do so. And you need to understand there's a lot of work coming up, that you need to bust your ass to get to where I'm at. So with that being said, guys, hopefully this helped you. Hopefully this enlightened you as to what you should be doing if you want to jump back into the raiding scene with a former guild or a guild that you kind of took a break from. If it did, give this video a like, hit that sub button. Both of those things encourage me a great deal to continue to make the content that you're hearing and seeing today. If you got any suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below or shoot me a message. Say, hey, I want to see this. What do you think about that? Etc. And until next time, guys, I'll see you.